This is the social network for readers, Goodreads.com. And if you want to get students going on Goodreads, it's very easy. Just go to Goodreads.com. I always have my students begin with first name, last initial only. And of course an email and a password. They can also sign in with their Twitter and Facebook. And I just go ahead and tell them to sign up that way, and they're on their way. Goodreads gives you a chance to find friends right away using these other accounts, but I have my students skip that and go straight to creating genres. And this is a real important piece for Goodreads, because eventually this is going to populate books that your students like. So I always make sure that they hit young adult, and then from that point they're ready. And you see the immediate thing that Goodreads does is put you in a rate books, and this is really important again because Goodreads is ultimately going to make recommendations. It tells you here that it's not ready to do that because there's not enough books rated. From that point on, of course I'm going to have my students rate books, and if they don't have books on the screen immediately, they can just come in and add books. So you see here I've added Hunger Games under Lauren B., the student I've made up for this, and Goodreads brings it right up, and you see a very simple rating system over there. So we would add that it is read and give it a rating. Of course, Hunger Games gets 5 stars. And if you want to, you could review it. I always like to have my students do some reviews throughout the year. I think that's a really important piece of reading and demonstrating understanding of reading. And then again, we're going to come back in. We continue. They're adding to shelves, and this is a real important piece. Either I've read it or I'm currently reading it. And eventually I want my students to friend their other students, and of course to friend me, and that way I can see what they're reading and see how they're rating books. And Goodreads is just a really powerful program if you're running any kind of independent reading or reading workshop in your classroom. Here in the profile, there's all of the things you would want. I always encourage my students to keep this private. Of course, this is a social network, so they're going to go ahead and do it as they wish, but it's just a good thing for teachers to encourage. And then I'm going to go to friends, and this is an important piece because I really want my students to add me first of all, because I need to see what they're doing, and I use Goodreads throughout the year in a wide variety of ways. And most importantly, I really want to keep up with what my students are reading. I ask my students to read a ton throughout the year. They read 25 or more books. So I want to see what they're doing, and they search for me, and my name and picture comes up, and they add. And you see it says pending request, which means I have to approve all requests. Another nice piece of Goodreads. And of course I'm going to approve my students. And then the Explore section I teach my students has a lot of great pieces in it. Again, friends, they're going to add their peers. And then that My Books piece is really an important part because it's going to help my students organize their reading, what they're reading, what they want to read later. I'm always encouraging them to add something to their shelves, to rate more books. So here, that's a real important piece. It always shows on the home page what they're reading, with these other great pieces as well. And that is Goodreads. So get your students started at Goodreads.com today.